I cannot get over the quality of the Canon G7X. Like, do you see this? You can see those zits perfectly. Like, what? Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I wanted to talk about high school. It's going back to school time, so I feel like this video will help a lot of people. I know when I was starting high school, or when I was in high school, I really wish I would have heard the advice that I'm gonna give today. So here is what I want to say. You are not the opinions of other people. Never ever forget your self-worth. Don't take shit from anybody. Classmates, teachers, nobody. Your social status will not matter when you graduate high school, so do not waste your time and energy trying to fit in. Because when you leave high school, you leave that with you. Your GPA does not define your intelligence. Seriously, like, I know for me in school, like, I don't learn like sitting in a classroom, like taking notes and being tested on it. And you know, a lot of people who aren't good at that are labeled as like dumb, but that's not true at all. Bullies aren't always your classmates. Bullies can be teachers as well, and they can be just as mean as your peers. Personally, I think everything you learn in high school is so irrelevant. Unless like you're planning to go to college to pursue like a career in the medical field, then you should probably pay attention and, you know, try to learn how to do math and like chem and stuff like that. But for the most part, there's not one thing that I think that I learned in high school that I use in my everyday life at all. I spent my 4 years in high school worrying about what other people thought of me, worrying about what people were saying about me, and you know, it really affected me. And you know, as hard as it is, you can't let it get to you. I know I let it get to me, and I sort of let it ruin my high school experience. Instead of doing things that I was passionate about or what I liked, YouTube for example, I have always been infatuated with like YouTube and like film and photography, and you know, back then I sort of like suppressed that part of me because I thought that it was different and it wasn't accepted. And I wasted so much time just trying to fit in and be accepted by the people around me because I wanted to, you know, be normal. But you know, it's not worth it, you know? You need to do you, because no one can be a better you than you can. I know that sounds like really sappy, but it's so true. Like, don't waste any time doing something that you're not passionate about, because, you know, everything I learned in high school, I forgot. I completely forgot it. I kind of just straight up don't believe in the education system. They teach us the same shit, like, over and over again. Like, I feel like I've learned most of the same things since the 5th grade. And it's like, why am I sitting here in this classroom doing it again and again and again? It just does not make any sense to me. And it's all memorization. Like, I don't even consider that learning, you know? I think, you know, being out of high school for 4 years now, which is crazy, I feel like old as fuck. But, you know, like really getting out there and like traveling and like getting like real life experience, I truly think that's how you actually learn. And you know what? It's okay if you can't learn in the classroom. That doesn't mean you're dumb, it just means that you learn in a different way. And you're gonna spend so much time in one place for 4 years, you should at least learn something that's gonna benefit your future. For example, I'm in school for communication and business. I wanna work in the entertainment industry. There's not one thing that I learned in high school, or one thing that I studied in high school that, like, benefits me now. You need to be taught things that actually matter, like how to balance a checkbook, mortgages, and how we're gonna go about doing that when we buy our first home. Things like that. We need to be taught like actual things that we're gonna use in our everyday life. When have I ever used the Pythagorean theorem? Never. When I was a junior, I was in this American history class, and it was very challenging. Like, the teacher, you know, like before Friday, we would like study the new chapter, and you know, she would give us a list of just like 20 or more like people that we had to know from like the past, and like, you know, what they did, and we were gonna be tested on it. And I remember like stressing about it so bad and having so much anxiety over failing. One night I just was sitting and I was studying, and I was like, you know, why am I having anxiety over this? Because it's not gonna matter. I mean, why do I give a shit what happened 50 years ago? Like, yeah, I guess it's sort of interesting just to know, but I can Google that and find out. Like, I shouldn't have to be tested on it and then just get a poor grade because I'm not good at memorization. Like, see, it doesn't make any sense to me, and it's just so stressful, like, knowing there's other people out there who are feeling how I was feeling, and like 4 years later, it doesn't matter. So I went to a Jesus school my whole life. In the beginning of this video, I said, you know, the teachers can be bullies just as much as your peers can. And my vice principal I mean, I'm not gonna say names or anything because I don't know. You know, he was very intimidating. You know, we have to wear uniforms, and like if your belt was like not on or your shirt wasn't tucked in, you'd be like, tuck it in, get it in, all around. He was crazy. So I was friends with this girl, and you know, like I said, I went to a Catholic school, and we all wore uniforms and stuff, and you had to like, you know, girls couldn't like wear their hair a certain way and like not a lot of makeup or stuff like that. And I had this one friend, and you know, she was like your typical scene girl, you know, like big hair, like really dark eye makeup and all that. And you know, she stood out from everybody, but you know, like I was her close friend. Like that's just the type of person I am, you know, just to accept everybody. And you know, she was a lot of people like did bully her, and you know, like stuff got kind of bad, and the vice principal, you know, he had told her like, you know, like look in the mirror because you're different from everybody else. And it's like, you don't say that. You shouldn't have to feel like you don't belong, and you shouldn't have to feel like that from someone who's supposed to tell other like people to like, you know, like respect one another and things of that nature. And it's just really sad, and it's just not okay. And there's just so much like I don't agree with. Whoever said high school is the best 4 years of your life totally lied to you, because they aren't. The main things I learned in high school was that my low GPA didn't mean that I wasn't smart. I also learned not to give a shit what people thought about me, said about me, you know. Now, like, I feel like I've totally grown like a thick layer of skin, and I'm so much more self-confident than I was back in high school. I also learned that there's just so much more out there to be worried about if you're gonna worry about something. That's way more important than like failing a test or not being liked by a certain person or group of people. It's really not worth it. Our life has an unknown expiration date, so try to make the most of high school, but don't let it consume you. You're gonna get through it, I promise you. So, stay strong, don't take shit from bitches, do you, and you'll be good to go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next week with another new video. Bye.
You call me